Hey folks, it's May 30th. Today, Canadian Union of Postal Workers met with the Minister of Jobs and Families, Patty Hajdu, and also the Secretary of State for Labor. Anyway, not sure exactly what happened in the meeting, but shortly after the meeting, it was revealed that Canada Post had written a letter to the Minister asking that we be forced to vote on it. As of now, we do not know for certain if the Minister is going to force us to vote on it, which they can do under Section 108 of the Labor Code. I think it's 108.1, not clear on that. So what happens then? Okay, well, so if we get forced to vote, I'm not sure. I really don't know. I don't know. I know that we won't run the vote. I think that the CIRB might run the vote. Are they going to do it online? Are they going to do it in person? I don't know. It's going to be a big affair one way or the other, because they're going to need to make sure all their I's are dotted and T's are crossed, to make sure that it's legit. And we have 55,000 members, but we have them all over the country. We have 64 affiliate offices just in here in Edmonton alone, with 1 to 3 members. 45 minutes down the highway from the next town that has 1 to 3 members. So we're going to have an opportunity for all those people to vote, or I would personally declare the vote invalid. The law does say it needs to happen ASAP, if the decision is made, which has not been made yet. Matter of fact, the Minister said that they think that the best solution is always a negotiated agreement. We've heard this before, though. And that sorry, just checking over my shoulder. That they think we should continue negotiating. So we'll have to see what happens about that. But some things we need to consider. This is why it's a beautiful day. This is the first time the government hasn't jumped at the chance to follow what Canada Post wants. Every other time, it's been very obvious that they're in cahoots with one another, that they are chasing each other around. And I think this comes down to Canada Post is trying to find a way out of the situation that allows them to bully people. It allows them to continue on the path that's been happening over the last 20 years, where, or longer, but it's been like 20 years since we had a negotiated deal, that the government is just legislates us back to work and we get binding arbitration. But like I've said before, they don't want binding arbitration because binding arbitration has rules. And the rules are that the arbiter can't be unreasonably restricted in what they want to decide, and that they're not going to make any massive changes. That's what Canada Post wants, is massive changes. So the other option here is for them to legislate us back to work, but it's a minority government. And the Supreme Court has determined that if they legislate us back to work, they have to give us equal representation, which means we have to be equals at the table, which again means no massive changes to the collective agreements, which again is not what Canada Post wants. So Canada Post is pulling out all the stops, and this is a pretty risky play by them. It's risky because if this vote goes and it fails and they end up putting us to arbitration, this becomes, from what I understand, the bottom line. This becomes the lowest offer they could get. So if you vote no on this and they say they push the vote through and you vote no on this, you're going to get your $1,000 signing bonus whether we get binding arbitration or not, because this is a minimum. So this is risky for them. But like I said, the government isn't just jumping at it. Not that they won't, but I think they're having some pause and they're going to have to think about it. So we're in an interesting place. When I was on Ryan Jesperson the other day, I said that we need to be brave and bold with our ideas. And I mean as Canadians and what we expect from the post office. And I proposed a number of ideas that you can find at deliveringcommunitypower.ca. Things like postal banking, internet services for rural areas, telephone services for rural areas, elder care check-ins, grocery delivery for rural areas. Dozens of ideas. There's a lot of them. But we need to be brave and bold. But we can't have these brave and bold ideas. Sorry, just crossing the street. We can't have these brave and bold ideas if we're not going to be brave and bold ourselves. We can't expect Canada Post to do what we want if they are not willing to, if we're not willing to take the brave and bold steps that we need. So you need to consider that. I don't think we've been in a better position in 20 years. I mean, it's not pretty, but you know, frequently from rough positions comes great changes and great things. So hopefully you guys can just keep your chin up, keep it together, and ultimately we'll come out on the wash. So just hang on, all right? Come to the rally tomorrow. It's more important now than ever. Now than ever, we need to have these rallies. We need people to come out. We need to show the government exactly that we mean business, that we want Canada Post to be successful, and that we want it to be powerful. We want it to be great. So you need to come to the rally tomorrow in Edmonton. That's 1 to 3 o'clock. If you're in another city, you can check on the national website at CUPW.ca for rally locations. I think Calgary is planning on having one next weekend. But come to the rally. Public, whatever, doesn't matter. I've got a previous post that has the address and everything in it. Just make it happen. This is your moment. This is the time where you can make things happen. You can make the changes that you want to see in your public services. We can force their hand. Okay? I hope we're great things. You guys have a great night.